Joining me now to talk about this and much more is Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. She has a new book titled "This Fight is Our Fight: The Battle to Save America's Middle Class." Senator Warren, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I want to get
Glad to be here.
I want to get to your book in a second, but first, 100 days. What grade would you give President Trump?
F.
An F.
Yeah.
Why?
An F. Look, he's a man who ran for office promising he was going to be there to help working people. That was going to be his number one, number two, number 10 goal, right, all the way through. And so what has he done? Well, first, he assembles a team of billionaires and bankers and hands the keys over to them, says to Goldman Sachs, you figure out how to deregulate the economy. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Then he signs off on all these executive orders. And it's not just the fact that they're executive orders, it's what they actually do. So he signed off on one that makes it easier for government contractors to cheat their employees out of their wages. He signs off on another one that makes it easier for employers who kill or maim their employees to hide that. He makes it easier for investment advisors to cheat retirees. And then, for me, the one that summarizes it all was Trump Care. When he embraces this health care plan and says he's going to go all in, and it had three main features. Part one, knock 24 million people off their health care.
Well, some of them might be voluntarily gone.
Well, they're going to be gone, knocked off. Number two, raise costs for a lot of middle-class families. And why? For number three, so that you could provide tax cuts for a handful of millionaires and billionaires. I don't know anybody who thought the real problem in healthcare in America today is that millionaires and billionaires don't have enough tax cuts. He promised to deliver for America's working people, and what he's delivered is a gut punch to America's working.
You write extensively in the book about the Democratic Party and how it needs to attract voters who have essentially been overlooked, ones who went for President Trump. A new Washington Post ABC News poll finds that 67% of respondents believe the Democratic Party is out of touch with most people in the U.S. That's a higher number that say that about the Republican Party. Among those who identify as Democrats, 44% say the party's out of touch. What's going on?
You know, I think the whole notion of parties and party identification is actually starting to shift. I think what's happening in America right now is where the real energy is just in the grassroots. And a lot of the grassroots is a very progressive grassroots. It's saying, look, we get it. The game is rigged. It's rigged in favor of those at the top and rigged against the rest of us. And we want some accountability on that. We want to see a government that works for the rest of us.
All right, Senator Warren, stick around. We got a lot more to talk about with you when we come back. President Obama, Bernie Sanders, lots more to discuss with Senator Warren. Stay with us. And we're back with our politics lead. President Trump has had a busy week ahead as he marks 100 days in office, a milestone he once embraced but now claims is, quote, artificial. Back with me is the senior Democratic senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren. She's out with her 11th book titled "This Fight is Our Fight: The Battle to Save America's Middle Class." Senator, thanks again for being here. So you write in your book that Hillary Clinton lost because middle and working class voters did not think she was sufficiently committed to fighting for them. You wrote, quote, "Where it mattered in the vote tally, where America had been hit extra hard by lost jobs and declining opportunities, our side hadn't closed the deal. Shame on us." I've heard a lot from voters in those states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, who to this day have no idea what Hillary Clinton's economic message was. Did you ever think that during the time, and did you ever express it to the campaign?
So look, I'm somebody who talks about this stuff I believe in. And that's what I did as loudly and as vigorously as I could. And I get it. The campaign was trying to work through as best they could what they thought would be the right way to reach the most Americans. The real question now for me is not the woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's what we're going to do now. And it's this first 100 days. I mean, this is a milestone. I get it. It's partly about his not following through on his promises. But it's that he's actually making a difference. And the difference he's making is he's making it harder and harder on working families. So it's the focus on how are we going to be in the fight for the next 100 days and the next 100 days and the next 100 days. Look, I get it. Democrats do not have a majority in the House or in the Senate. We have to use other tools to fight back. So
Bernie Sanders is campaigning for a Democratic candidate in Nebraska who opposes abortion rights. Now, I know you're working hard to promote female candidates, especially female candidates who support abortion rights. But when you talk about your party being at such a minority. I mean, I think it's the worst position for the Democratic Party since like the 1920s or something, that when you include all the state legislatures you've lost as well. Is it right for Senator Sanders to reach out and support Democrats who oppose abortion rights?
Look, my position on this is really clear. I've been very loud about this. I am pro-choice. I have been pro-choice for a very long time.
But does everybody else have to be?
Look, I am vigorously pro-choice, and what I want to make clear is at the federal level, we may be in a fight over this before the end of the week. Remember, the Republicans over and over and over keep sticking back in that they want to defund Planned Parenthood, that they want to be making the decisions about what kind of health care women are going to get access to. Keep in mind, the last time the government was shut down at the federal level, what happened was it was Ted Cruz, and it started with defunding Planned Parenthood.
Right, I get that that's where you are, but I guess that my question is, if your party needs to grow, does there need to be a big tent strategy that brings in pro-life Democrats as well?
So I understand where I am, and that not all my colleagues agree with me, and not everybody who's a Democrat agrees with me, and that's okay with me. We got to have people in, but we've got to be in the fight. And I am in the fight on choice. I am in the fight on economics, because I think this is the heart of where we are as a party. The Republicans, for 35 years now, have basically worked on a government that more and more and more works for those at the top. Cut taxes for those at the top, deregulate for those at the top, and kick dirt in everybody else's face. What we have to do as Democrats, and what I talk about in this book, how to do it, is we got to be in this fight for working people. And that means working people all the way. We got to be in this fight in order to argue, to make the investments in education, in infrastructure, in basic research, to have trade policies that are going to work for working people. So we got to be in that fight.
I want to ask you one last question, and I'm interested in your answer both as a law professor and also as somebody who was at Harvard for a long time. There's this big issue going on about conservative pundit Ann Coulter and whether or not she has a right to speak at Berkeley. She was invited by the Berkeley Republicans. Former Vermont Governor and DNC Chair Howard Dean tweeted last week, quote, "Hate speech is not protected by the First Amendment." Is that true?
You know, look, Ann Coulter has just gotten a much bigger platform because someone tried to deny her a chance to speak. My view is let her speak and just don't show up. If you don't like it, don't show up.
All right. Senator Elizabeth Warren, it's a pleasure having you. Good luck with the book. It's good to see you again. Thank you so much.